The silence in our home used to be deafening. It was a heavy blanket, woven with unspoken words and the sting of betrayal. We were like two strangers coexisting in a space that once echoed with laughter. Every shared glance felt like an accusation, every meal a battlefield. The pain was a physical presence, a third person in our marriage. I remember looking at him and seeing only the hurt, the ghost of what we had lost. How do you even begin to talk when the words get stuck in your throat, choked by anger and sorrow? That's where we were, at rock bottom, wondering if there was anything left to salvage. It started with a single, terrifying question. Can we fix this? Not do we want to, but can we? The first real conversation we had was clumsy and raw. There were tears, raised voices, and long, painful silences. But for the first time in months, we weren't running from the truth. We laid it all out, the hurt, the reasons, the regrets. It was ugly, it was heartbreaking, but it was honest. We decided to see a therapist, not because we thought it was a magic wand, but because we needed a neutral space to learn how to talk to each other again without the weapons of our past. The therapist gave us a starting point. Small acts of connection. It sounded almost insultingly simple. A shared cup of coffee in the morning without looking at our phones, a simple, "How was your day?" that we actually had to listen to the answer for. We started taking short walks together, just for 10 minutes. At first it was awkward. We'd walk side by side, a foot of space between us, talking about the weather, the trees, anything but us. But slowly, the space began to shrink. One day, his hand brushed mine, and for the first time, I didn't flinch. It was a tiny spark, but in the darkness we'd been living in, it felt like a bonfire. Rebuilding trust isn't a single event. It's 1,000 tiny moments strung together. It was him being exactly where he said he would be. It was me choosing to believe him, even when the voice of doubt in my head was screaming. It was transparency. Phones were put face up on the table, passwords were shared. It wasn't about suspicion anymore. It was about removing any room for doubt to grow. We created new rules for our relationship, rules that prioritized honesty above all else. We learned to fight fair, to say, "I'm feeling hurt," instead of "you always do this." We were learning a new language, the language of a new relationship. One of the hardest parts was grieving the old relationship. We had to accept that the couple we were before the betrayal was gone forever. We couldn't go back. Trying to pretend it didn't happen would have been a lie, and we were done with lies. We had to mourn that loss, like a death. It was sad, and it was necessary. Because only by letting go of the past could we create space for a future. We were building something new from the ground up on the rubble of what came before. This new foundation had to be stronger, built with the hard-won bricks of radical honesty and painful vulnerability. We also had to rediscover each other as individuals. The betrayal had shattered my sense of self, and he was lost in his own guilt and shame. I started painting again, something I hadn't done in years. He joined a running club. We were finding ourselves outside of the U.S. that had been so broken, and as we grew as individuals, we had more to bring back to the relationship. We started dating again, not fancy dinners, but simple things. A picnic in the park, a trip to a bookstore. We were getting to know the new people we were becoming. There was laughter again. Tentative at first, then more freely. The silence was no longer heavy. It was comfortable. Today, our relationship isn't perfect. We still have days where the past feels a little too close, where a shadow of the old fear flickers. But the difference is, now we talk about it. We turn towards each other instead of away. The scar is there, and it will always be a part of our story. But it's a scar, not an open wound. It reminds us of how much we almost lost and how hard we fought to find our way back. We are stronger now, not in spite of what happened, but because of it. We learned that true intimacy isn't about never hurting each other. It's about having the courage to repair the damage, to choose each other again and again, even when it's hard. It's a quiet strength, a resilient love. If you are in that place of silence and pain, please know that you are not alone. It can feel like an impossible mountain to climb. But change begins with a single small step. Whether it's with a partner or on your own journey of healing, seeking support can make all the difference. Talking to a therapist or a trusted friend can provide a safe space to process your feelings. Remember to be kind to yourself through the process. Healing is not linear, but it is possible. Thank you for listening to our story. If this resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more content on navigating life's challenges.